So for today's video, we have some big hot news to sail into, pun intended by the way. A small fire was experienced on board the world's largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, and in Carnival news, we have some passengers that recently sailed on board a Carnival ship, and they are saying that they feel like they were being punished for being fat, and the reasoning as to why is very interesting. We'll go over the details of both of these stories in today's video. Yesterday on June 25th, at what was believed to be the early afternoon hours, guests that are currently sailing on board Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas say that out of nowhere they heard a loud explosion coming from somewhere on board the ship. The ship then briefly lost power. There were guests that were locked out of their rooms. At the time the ship was docked over in Costa Maya, Mexico, guests were not allowed to board the ship. This is all due to a small fire that was contained to the crew area on board. Thankfully, due to the speedy response of the crew on board, shout out to them, the small fire was quickly extinguished and there were no injuries reported. As you could imagine, when it comes to a story such as this, the world's largest cruise ship and fire, it is going to make headlines. Everybody is talking about it. And when it comes to cruise ships, yes, a fire is possibly one of the biggest threats that any cruise ship could face next to an iceberg. I'm joking. Fire is definitely something that you want to avoid on board a cruise ship, especially considering when you look back just as early as March of this year, the Carnival Freedom suffered its second fire. They had another pretty big fire back in 2022, so a lot of people are referencing that as far as how quickly things can get out of hand. There was also a situation in late March of this year on a Holland America cruise ship in which there was some sort of a steam explosion where two crew members were literally boiled alive. Very horrific situation. And even back when I worked on board cruise ships with Norwegian Cruise Line, we had an engine explosion on our ship in which unfortunately there were two crew members injured. One had to be medevaced off of the cruise ship and they didn't make it. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to talk about this to stir up some drama and make cruise ships seem like this very dangerous place, but as you could imagine on board a cruise ship there are a lot of moving parts, especially over in the engine room and in the crew areas. And even as a crew member, there are a lot of places that crew members that aren't certified to go to those areas, well, they just aren't there, and it is a fireable offense should you even step foot in those zones. So as you could imagine, whenever there's something like a fire, no matter how big or small it is, the cruise lines are going to take it very seriously. Moving on into some Carnival news, there were recently two passengers that were sailing on board the Carnival Valor. I believe that ship's sailing out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and it's an older seasoned ship, about 2 decades old. It's not super old, however, it is getting up there in age. There were two passengers that sailed on board the Carnival Valor that reached out to Carnival Cruise Line's ambassador, John Held. And I gotta say, kudos to that man. He has a very difficult job. You see, his job is not only to update all of you Carnival lovers out there, you Carnies, you very important people, on what's going on with Carnival Cruise Line. He also has to address any complaints and issues that may arise. In this particular case, you have two passengers, like I said, that sailed on the Carnival Valor, that are saying that they are being punished for being fat with, what you may ask, the AC temperatures on board. They go on to say that while they were sailing on board the Carnival Valor, the temperature in their cabin didn't get below 69 degrees, as they tested that with multiple devices. And in their own words, they are fluffier, each of them weighing about 400 pounds. They don't think that these temperatures are suitable for them while they are enjoying their cruise. They believe that there are a couple explanations for this, one of which being the AC systems just aren't working properly. Two, that there are other people that are leaving their balcony doors open. In case you didn't know, if you leave your balcony door open during your cruise, the AC is likely to potentially shut off and it has to start back up again once you close that door and get back in your room, which can obviously take a while. Yeah, John Held, he tuned in and said that, well, yes, it is possible that for your own personal cabin, if you open the balcony door, your AC will shut off. However, other people opening their balcony doors is not going to affect your personal cabin. He also stated the obvious that it is indeed summertime, meaning especially over in places like the Caribbean, your Nassau, Bahamas, and your Mexicos, it is roughly 90 degrees over in these areas, meaning the AC is going to be working overtime to work. And if you're in a place like, let's say, a cruise port where you're stopped and docked in an island or a port of call, it can potentially get hotter. And if you open the balcony door and you leave it open, it gets hot in there, then naturally those systems are going to take a little longer than potentially expected to start back up and get to your desired temperature. The couple also theorized that due to some of the designs of the cabins, which they try to go out of their way to, I guess, have a cabin in which the bed is closer to the AC vent rather than being close to the balcony, that is a potential problem, along with the AC not properly working. John Hell assured that on all 27 of their ships that they have within their fleet, the AC works just fine. Should there be an issue, obviously just contact the customer service downstairs. They can have somebody from maintenance come and check and see if everything's working properly. And if that's not enough for you, you can also bring a fan, I believe, up to 12 inches in diameter to accommodate whatever your needs are. Now, all of that out of the way, as somebody myself that does cruise quite a bit, old Carnival ships, new Carnival ships, ships from other brands, from other mainstream lines, I can tell you that there are some ships out there where the AC is just okay. I'm a Floridian. I like my AC, and let's be real here, I'm a little darker. I tend to attract some heat and perspirate quite a bit. Once I start sweating, I can't stop. I love my AC. However, I have made the mistake of thinking that my balcony door is closed all the way, and it isn't, and I don't notice until hours later that the AC has been shut off, or if the AC isn't working properly. I've had no problem telling my room steward or calling down to customer service, and they have fixed it no problem. However, while issues and mishaps and mistakes can occur when it comes to the AC, things we're not really paying attention to, like leaving the balcony door open, you have to remember you're not at home. There are some people that like to live like they are in Antarctica. I'm talking about negative 40-degree weather. This is something that they wish they could have in their cruise cabin, which is not attainable. You can get comfortable in there, but if you're somebody that needs icy cold rooms, and there are some ships out there, especially the older ones, regardless of what's being said, that aren't going to reach those desired temperatures. I'm saying this because I am somebody that does like cold temperatures. I like to make it as cold as possible in my apartment at times and make it a challenge to snuggle up and get as comfortable with my comforters as I possibly can. But I do realize when I'm on a cruise going to tropical places where the temperatures can reach 90 degrees, 100 degrees or more, especially with the heat index, it's just not possible. Anywho, that's what I have for today's video. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, as usual, if you want to book a cruise, make sure you check out my travel agent sponsor, Lux Rally, the link of which will be in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comments. I appreciate you, I love all of you, and I'll see you later. Take it easy.